So hi there, everyone in the I Play, I Learn iPad Metal group. This is a video where I want to show you how to do a screen recording on your iPad. This would also apply to an iPhone. In order for me to show you how to do that, I'm initially recording the first part of the video through my iPhone. So that's just an ordinary iPhone going around looking at my iPad. So I'm going to get you to look at me doing physical things with my iPad to set up the screen recording. When that happens, the rest of the video will be recording whatever I'm doing on the iPad itself. That might sound a bit complicated. And then when I'm finished, I put the recording, the short introductory recording that's on my iPhone, and I will edit that in an editing package, which I'll show you, and then I'll demonstrate to you. And then we put the two of them together, and then you should be able, therefore, to make a screen recording of what you're doing on the iPad. So, again, I'm off on a little journey of exploration. No apologies if I make lots of mistakes. Just hang on in there with me. So, at the moment, as you can see, this iPhone is following my hands as I go onto my iPad. Now, I have to look a bit sideways at this. So, what I do is I scroll down from the top right. Now, you see, we've seen that. That brings up the control center. That's this down here. And the icon I want to look at is this icon down here. Let me see where my finger is. That there. That's the screen recording icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it down. And when I hold it down, it opens up a little window. So the first thing you'll notice is I'll change hands now. That's interesting. Yeah, actually what I'll use my iPen just to indicate there better. So what you'll see is that the screen recording is going to save recordings in the Photos app. Then there's a thing called Start Recording. When I press that button, it'll start recording. This is the one I want you to look at here. See, it is microphone on. Now, like if I press that, it toggles between microphone on and microphone off. So let me just, apologies here, let's see which hand I use. Oh, I need to use this hand. Really interesting to see what side my camera's on. So if I hold this down, it's gone microphone off. Press it again, microphone on. So when I'm doing a screen recording, I'll want my microphone to be switched on so that you'll able to hear me narrate what I'm trying to do. Now you see when you have the control panel in there switched on, the rest of it is kind of blurry. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to press the Start Recording button, and then you'll see a 3, 2, 1 timer. And then after 3, 2, 1, the countdown, you will see up at the top of the screen a little red light showing that you're in screen record mode. And then I'll be finished with this part that I'm doing on my iPhone. So watch here now, right? Now this is all unscripted, folks. It's, you know, it's streaming of consciousness by me. So I'm going to press my button here, Start Recording. Whoops. Screen recording. Okay, now we learn everything. So what's that says? Screen recording is not available when AirPlay, CarPlay restrictions on the screen mirroring is active. So I've been trying to record this while watching myself record this on AirPlay on a large 65-inch screen. So what you can't do is you can't use screen recorder and screen projection at the same time. So what I'll just do is I'll press OK. Well, hold on. Firstly, I'll turn off the television. That's the first thing I'll do. Okay. Will that help? Yes. So do this. And let's hope this thing works now. So I'm going to back again, press Start Recording. Now turning off the television may not have released the AirPlay. So again, let me go off here, AirPlay. Okay, so that's my AirPlay button here. That's a screen bearing button. I'll just show you it. I'll use the iPen because my fingers to where are you? Okay, so that button there would show, there would be a white color if it was mirroring. So it's no longer mirroring, so I can go back into my record mode. Press my button here, hold it down. So when I press the Start Recording button, look at that, 3, you see that 3, 2, 1. And now it's in recording mode, and I can tell that why. Now, firstly, I have to click off the screen to get the control panel away. Just click somewhere on the screen. And up at the top right-hand corner here, you'll see this little indicator here. What that's showing is that everything that's happening now it's in recording mode, and I can tell that why. Now, firstly, I have to click off the screen to get the control panel away. Just click somewhere on the screen. And up at the top right hand corner here, you'll see this little indicator here. What that's showing is that everything that's happening now, the screen is being recorded. So I'm going to turn off. I've only 5 minutes of this, so this is a long video. So just hang on into the second part. I'm going to stop. So this is my iPhone. I'm going to stop recording on my iPhone. And hopefully now this has been picked up. So my screen recorder is operating. So everything moving around here now, that is what's happening on my iPad. So from now on in the video, everything that you're going to see is what I'm doing with my iPad. So I have a little idea here. Now, here's the toys I'm playing with. I'm playing with an Apple iPencil. I'm also playing with a USB mouse that's connected. And you can see there, because I'm using an external USB mouse, the cursor's running around there and it's going to do things. So I'm going to actually do something here, which, again, I'm just investigating a situation. Now, I'm going to look at the technical aspects of this. The personal aspects of this will possibly come out in another space. So here's the situation. Here's these photographs, and I want to explain what's going on and what's an issue. It's about electrical safety, so I want to do something. So I've got these photographs. I'm now going through the process. I'm going to, explode the photographs onto the screen, and then I'm going to discuss, an issue belonging to what, in relation to these photographs. Just let's see. So I'm going to click on this photograph first. Now, immediately, what do you notice? Well, if like me, I didn't plan this, what I noticed is that my cursor doesn't really suit what I'm trying to do, because there's an awful lot of red here. So if I just go up to the top here and press back, this goes. So that thing is called a chevron. See that thing there? Like the side arrow. It's called a chevron. So my left-facing chevron, go back, and you can see all the photographs I'm going to be doing. Okay, the black you can see, but red's a bad colour. So what do I do? Well, again, we're distracted, but what of it? I mean, this is a learning space, and I'll make lots of mistakes through this. And if you don't make mistakes, then I need to be at your class. Anyway, I just swipe up from the bottom. I go into my settings. Right, I pick up. So what's the cursor? Yeah, cursor, he's going to disappear into settings. Click on him. Now what I want to do is go down to accessibility, I think it is. Keep moving down. Where is accessibility? Again, none of this is pre-planned, so, okay. See this one here, accessibility. I'll go down here to, now, up and down is really interesting because I'm using the mouse wheel to do this. So let me go to my pointer control. So what this pointer control does, this is a useful thing. Should have made it, and I will make another video. See the way I can make my pointer really big? No, that's too big, right? Now, what I do is, so I make them that small, but then the next thing I want to do is something else. What am I going to do? Color, yeah, pick up on this color, because that color, as you can see, is red. Click on this. So there's two things I can do here just before. The first thing, I can change the width of the border of the cursor. See, I can make the cursor less prominent, or I can make the cursor big. So I like a nice big border. I like a nice small circle and a big border. But looking back in that color I was dealing with, I'm going to try yellow here, because I think yellow will come back out nice across the red. Now, in general, I like red, so I'm going to go back and set this afterwards. But I'll go back to my pointer control. Now I want to look at this size, right? So I'm going to take this size. Now, the only pointer I can find is a round-headed pointer. I can't find things with arrows, etc. Anyway, let me go, so swipe up from the bottom and go back to, where was I? Yeah, go back to photos. Okay, so now we are. Let's click on this little device here. Now, I think that's a bit better, isn't it? Yeah. So look what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to use my cursor to take you, the viewer, to what I think is a process of investigation. And this is an idea. So what's something functional and useful I could do with an iPad? Now, I also have an iPencil here beside me. So how that'll interact with the pen as I'm doing things is going to be interesting to see. So first things first. So what do you think? Oh yeah, the other thing is I'm going to be using my fingers as well, right? So wow, I've got a pencil in my left hand, a mouse in my right hand, and my right hand end sometimes comes in, and using two finger gestures I zoom in and out. So here's the issue that I'm going to examine. To you and I, that looks like a cable reel, the sort of thing you buy in a shop. Probably 5 meters of cable long. Might buy it in a shop for between 15 and 20 euro, maybe, that sort of money. And you simply, in this case here, as you can see, now how can you see? Oh yeah, I'll use my mouse. You can put in, you can use this as an extension reel to plug in 2 sockets. Now typically that extension reel might have a fuse on the plug that would go into this, perhaps 13 amp fuse. These would then have 2 fuses or 2, this can break out into 2 different circuits, each of which might possibly have a plug which could have up to 13 amp fuses. So for example, if you have 2 devices with 13 amp fuses, both of which are drawing, say, 10 amps each, that would be 20 amps. And that 20 amps would then clear the fuse. Clear means if a fuse blows in the plug that actually connects into the wall or whatever. So that's where the protection comes in. So what I do is I use my mouse to sweep across. Let's see if I can use the mouse to sweep from page to page now. So I'm going to use my finger here to swipe from right to left to the next picture. Okay. And I go over and back these pictures. So you can see now when you look, and I'm using my 2 fingers to gesture control, melting. See that there? So this was discovered up in the Schibo Navarre today, the 19th of February 2022. And I was very interested in the issue because it really is a good insight from a safety point of view into something we might learn from. So let me just look at a couple of the pictures. So there's the 2 items together. Again, the front part would be the red part here. Oh, let me wear your mouse. The front part of the device where the socket, the pictures went in. Again, swipe over and back. You see the front part there. Right, that's the red part. Go back here again. Okay, so that's that front part there. And the back part of it is this here. Let me just try and zoom in, use my fingers. So what you can look here is, wow, this whole thing melted. All right, so melted. So what do we know about it melting? Firstly, there must have been a lot of heat. And if it melted at that, the chances are this could have set off a fire. Now, for example, in an area where there would be a lot of buildup of sawdust, which would be very dry, you know, the chance of actually striking a fire here massively high. And you might ask yourself, but why didn't the system clear itself? Why didn't the fuse protect this from overheating? That's what I want to examine. Okay, the other one is this front end here. So the other thing I will concentrate on, so what do you ask me?
Looking.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I have a viewer here, Marianne, the dog, Diego. He's not interested.
He's asleep.
So, but I'm going to look at those there because they are the copper contacts. So we'll discuss those as to what their condition is, and we'll discuss all this stuff here. And we have a number of photographs here. So I just zoom back out there into the full size and switch across. Right. Now you can see that there, all that. So what are you looking at there? You're looking at melted plastic fused into the black cable. There was a black cable inside here, and it's literally melted, smelted. You know, the height, the heat involved here is really extensive, right? Now, let me go on to the other side of it. This part here. Now, this is the part I'm very interested in because if you have overheating of a socket. Now, this is important. I want you to understand. So these are the copper things, the neutral, the earth, the live that are involved in these connections. Remember, see these things crisscrossing because there was. Let me just go back out again to the perfect one. So when we knew there are 2 sockets. That's the earth, right? That's earth and another earth. So there's 2 for each element. The lives, the neutral. There must be 2 connectors, right? So when we go down here, for example, that's why you see the bridging that takes place between here. Say if that was the live, well, in fact, if I just look closely, we can identify it. Blue is neutral, blau, that's neutral, okay? And brown is live. So you can see the brown wire was going in here. So this is the external wire. This blue and this brown would have then gone into a black sleeve, which would have been wound around this reel, okay? When it comes down into the item itself, it comes in here for the first switch, and then it jumps across, or is bridged across, you can see a piece of copper, to make the neutral for the second socket. On top of that, you've got the live bridging across that bar there. So that's why you see that. See that black sleeve there? That's an insulating sleeve to prevent the live touching the neutral. I look at that and I'm saying, is that really clever? There's certainly underneath that, there certainly want to be a degree of clearance. Not a really good idea to have lives and neutrals crossing over each other, but it is protected by, and I suppose that'll be quite a hard insulating sleeve. But most important, what I want you to focus on, there's absolutely no sign of heating, local arcing, local sparking, local carbonization. The carbonization would be like in a motor brush or something where you have arcing and sparking. What you end up doing is you get the copper being burned and a carbon deposit being placed on it, which increases the local resistance at the contact, which leads to more heating at that localized heating. So such an event would gradually make that socket become hotter and hotter and hotter if it was a socket wiring problem. This is not the problem. Now let me go back and look at this other picture that I took, which is this one here. Now, as you can see, this has been fairly worn and all the rest. But I can't see the original thing. No wires in this main lead can be coloured or will following code, yeah. So it's just basically telling you something about codes. Somewhere in this item, I presume, I can't, obviously this is not new, but the one lesson and salutary lesson you as a viewer need to learn out of this is you never use any of these items when they're rolled up. You must, if you're not a fool, and certainly if you don't want the next. And so again, just that's how clean. Look at those contacts. Those contacts are fault-free. These are pristine, I should call them. This is not a wiring problem here. This event, this is what has happened. This item was used by someone as yet unidentified, although, you know, the question is out there as to who owned this and what happened to this person and who did they report it to explain it before it was, before it was discovered and the shit. Look at the heat. Can you imagine the heat that needs to be created to fold that plastic? Think about it. If you put boiling water on that, would it melt that? No. Boiling water is nearly 100 degrees. It boils at 100. So this is a temperature a lot more than 100 degrees. Okay? So when you use this type of reel, you're supposed to unroll it completely. So if it's a 5 meter reel, no matter even if you're using this close to the wall, you need to unreel this reel. You have to wind it out totally. Because what has happened is you get a feature called induction heating. So you've got somebody on your cookers, induction heating. So induction heating is not tactile in that sense. It heats the air around it, and or it heats. Depending on what is infrared, it'll heat the material that's around it. So because this reel was used with the reel all wound up, the second thing is once you start drawing any type of serious currents, so remember this will be fused at 13 amps. So let's say you were drawing 10 amps out of this, maybe you were running a portable heater, maybe the heater was say 2 kilowatts. If you're in the 2 kilowatts business, you're drawing in a burst of 9 amps. If you were doing a 2 kVA 9-inch grinder, similarly be at 9 amps. If you were drawing two devices at the same time, they might be drawing 5 or 6 amps each, which wouldn't be massive devices. And individually, none of them would blow their own 13 amp fuse. And let's say you had two of them drawn 6 amps each, it'd only be 12 amps, and that wouldn't even clear the main fuse of the plug that's going into this. However, now let me see the mouse. Let me bring my mouse back in here. By virtue of the fact that you would have your wire all wound up in here, what happens is that the induction effect of what induction happens when you have cables going in circles, right? Like a coil. That's what coil it creates, an electromagnetic field, an electromagnetic field, which then creates other heating and electrical elements. So if you've got this type of thing, you have problems. So what will happen is, whatever you're using, this thing will heat up. Now, I can tell you, when you look at the explosive damage done to this, well, sorry, not explosive, but the significant damage. It wasn't explosive because this did not happen immediately. This is a cumulative problem. So what happened here is that somebody, as yet unidentified, was using this item in as yet an unidentified location, plugging certain items which are as yet unidentified, but I would predict that the total current drawn at that time for a cumulative period, would have been more than 2 or 3 amps. Now, and what happened so this was done over a cumulative period of time. If someone was paying attention and watching, they would have felt this thing getting hot. This did not happen on say 4 or 5 days apart. It happened in one continuous action. I would suggest that this was being used for a length of time. For this to have melted and smelted like this, I would suggest that with me, I would be expecting that somebody had to see this happen. Again, I want to repeat, there is no indication of any arcing or sparking at all at this. So there's no indication that more than 13 amps was being drawn through these circuits. Please understand that. This is not a problem of overcurrent protection. This is a problem of using a very rational current, but suffering from the effects of induction heating, which comes from coiling wire up. Really dangerous. Really, really, really dangerous. So my analysis of this is, somebody, this was found in a shed. Somebody actually physically touched this and moved this. Somebody must have seen it. Somebody must have been aware that it was a severe heating problem. Anybody who's ever worked with water, hot water and plastic, can you imagine some of your plastic utensils and boiling water on them? Can you imagine your ladles that go into soup or whatever? None of this stuff would melt. This is way over 100 degrees centigrade that happened here. Okay, now, so let me just try something else here, because this is a multi-layered learning exercise. Essentially, there's a health and safety issue involved here. And there is the question that wherever this problem emanated from, this experience was not shared by the person who took this item and placed it somewhere else. Okay, so therefore there's no learning for anybody else in it. However, I want to look at some of the features of the iPad. So we're doing a video on screen recording. That's what we're doing. How to use an iPad for screen recording. How we can take learning and share our learning. So I'm using my fingers going in and out. I'm using, for indication, I'm using a mouse. I'm now going to try and bring my my iPen into bear on this. So what I've done is I've just tapped on the screen and I'm going to go into edit mode. Right, so now I'm in edit mode of a photograph, and now I'm going to use my pencil, I hope. So I just use my cursor, see that area up on the top here? If I'm going to press that, so Markup turns off live photo. So just don't be distracted. This photograph was taken on an iPhone which was in live photo mode, which takes a number of a burst of frames simultaneously. So it's just going to take one of them. So now we're going to focus on a single frame, which is what you see there. And what we brought into play here is this Markup Tool. So now you can't see it, but I'm holding my mouse. I'm holding the mouse on the right hand side. That's this guy. In the left hand side, I'm holding an iPencil. So I just want to see if this will operate. Oh, great. So that's I'm touching. Let's say now. Obviously, the thing you can see is on my left hand side. There's an Apple Pencil. So what I can do is, if I touch the Apple Pencil on a device like that, it brings up that little sub-menu, which can make for smaller or larger colours. Now, before I do that, I should really select the colour blue. I'm going to move my cursor over. The cursor is really mapping where I'm putting the pen. So see when I make that blue, a blue circle, or a little circle comes around that, and this pen here becomes blue. Let me go back over here and make it, say, green. So select the green. Again, the mouse is a little bit imprecise. The mouse on my knee, by the way. Have you got a mouse on your knee, have you? have a dog beside me, a woman on my right hand side, and a mouse on my knee, and a pencil in my left hand. Anyway, as you can see here, when I click that to green, the pencil turned green. Click at the blue, the pencil turns blue. I think blue will be an interesting colour here. Maybe green, no, I think blue. No, these are the different tools. There's like a marker tool, a pencil tool, there's a rubber. We'll look at that. But it allows me, I think I'm going to use my pencil. I'm going to make it quite big to make it prominent. So I click on it. So I can make them different sizes, but I want it to be quite big. So I suppose, now, okay, I click off that. Now, I think the first thing I want to do is I want to highlight, I want to leave this, I want to edit the picture, because I'm just making a video and all this stuff on the mouse will be on the picture, but not necessarily detailed. So what I want to try and do is I want to focus an arrow on highlighting the blue wire. I'm going to use blue for that. That's interesting. Because actually down here I'll be able to have I could go into this sort of selection area here, and that'll allow me to pick all sorts of colours. Anyway, I won't make it too complex, just stick with the blues at the moment. So the first thing I want to zoom in there. So without writing, I'm going to use my 2 fingers to zoom in. Yep, 1 or 2 now. And then I want to make an annotation here. So I'm just going to, using my pencil, see that? I've now highlighted that, see that? And then I'm going to write here, oh dear. So what I see right here, so go back down to my pencil. So, okay, you just have to imagine I'm using my eye pencil, and I'm going to click on this guy. I'm going to make him somewhat smaller, choose one, and I'm going to say blue, and I'm going to write neutral. Now, is that N-U-E or N-E-U? So I think it's N-E-U-T-R-A-L, blue neutral. Now, see that L there? There's a bit now. I'm doing this on my knees. Sorry, this is on my knees. I'm sitting down, but I'm not on my knees yet. Anyway, I don't like that L, so I'm going to come back here and I press this thing here, which is undo. So it's going to do the last screen stroke I did. Oh, so you go back up here and write it properly again. Take a bit more care, neutral. Now, okay, so I'm going to try and look for a color. I'm going to click that guy there and look for a color called brown. Okay. He's not very brown looking, is he? Bit softer. No, that's not great. So you can see this is called a palette. So I'm just looking for, that's a brown. So I'll stick with that color there. And I'll just close that box, click the X. And I'm going to then select this color brown from my pen. Yeah, I have it, okay. And then I go back to my pen and I make the pen big again. I'm going to make him big because I want to highlight this fella here. Right? And then I'm going to change the size of him again, make him smaller, and call it brown live. Okay? Now what I want to do is I want to zoom back out again. So I'm using my 2 fingers and I go in there. I want to move over to this part here, the insulator. Okay, so the insulator, this black fella here. Okay, so I'm gonna put in a bit of green here just for, no, before I do that, why don't I look at green? Green often, yellow-green mark in electrical terms is always the earth wire. So there's the earth wire. We're going to pick up a green for him. Right, we're going to make my pencil, the fat fella, okay. And we're going to call this guy green earth, okay. So, again, make my pencil so much smaller. He's that size, so we call him green. And well, it's green-yellow. And he's earth. So we're identifying things. What I really wanted then was to look at this part here, black, the black thing. So not really left with a lot of colours here, am I? Let me just pick, see if I find another interesting colour. Okay, what else? Wouldn't normally play around with the colours here, but I just go for a bit of a purple here. Okay, let me just start with that. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick this black fella here. I'm going to pick a pen, so I have to pick a pen first. Okay, let's see what colour he's going to... He's purple, as you can see, he's purple. Going to make him nice and fat, and we're going to pull this guy here. Oh, he's too fat. So he's too fat, so I got to go back and press the undo button. Okay, so actually, the weight that you place on the pencil determines how thick the line is. So the lines are weight or pressure sensitive. Oh dear, got it. you'd think I was sitting on this pen. Anyway, oh dear, that's still too small. So I'll just make a thinner pencil because this video is not about pencils. But anyway, see that there? And we just call that insulator. Okay. So really what we're doing is then I just use my 2 fingers to zoom out again. So look at the purpose of this exercise, how you can use annotation to identify things on a fixed photograph. And the last thing I want to do is I want to put in a bit of text. So if you just follow my cursor, I'll just put that cursor in there and I'll just select this area called text. Now the interesting thing about the text is really often difficult to see what it's after doing. So just, now sometimes you can see I'm after drawing that little line here, so I need to just press undo again. Be very careful. I want to zoom in and out here, so I've got to use my 2 fingers together at the same time. See that little text box there? It's really, really small. So I need to grab it. I need to pull it out of there, which you come here. So I want to pull it out of there. I'm going to zoom out again. Zoom out. So I'd like to put my text box down here somewhere. Again, if I go in there with my cursor, pull them down here. All right, so that's text. Now I'm going to double click on this. Now what's in the way here is this big disk thing here, so I'm going to try and make it disappear. So I press up the 3 wee dots and say auto minimize. Auto minimize means it shoots over the side when I'm not using it. When I scroll over it, it gets big. When I go off it, it gets small. So I got that text. So I got that text, I'll double click on it. And it allows me to type things in the text. Okay, so I'm going to say faulty cable reel. And I just put today's date, 19th/03/22. Okay, so at least it gives me some identity about it. Now, okay, what can I do with those things? If I press on them, I thought I might be able to do something. So I'd like to be able to, I don't like that, they're not big enough. So not big enough, I think, and I don't like the size of them. So can I do anything with them? Oh, I right-clicked on my mouse there. I right-clicked on my mouse. Great, you just try things, right? I right-clicked on my mouse and said edit. And it didn't help me do an awful lot, did it? No, so somewhere in the past, let's see, oopsie, I'm just highlighting these. So just click off them again, right? So will I just try again and see what I can do? Yep. Let's see. Why can't I? So what I'm trying to do is to make it bigger. Great. So I'll admit that right now, I've done this before, but I'm not going to concentrate at the moment. So just pull this down here at the moment. So obviously, I start off making one video, and typically I'm on multi-layers of different things that I'm trying to do. Anyway, that gives me the idea. So I can use the annotation called text. So again, the other thing I've shown you is how to click that button, auto minimize. Oh, you run away on me again. Go over to the 3 dots, click on them, and put auto minimize off as well. Oh, you can do also things with pencil settings and all those things. Anyway, I'm leaving lots for you people to explore. Okay, so now I made a mistake here, but you can see I use my finger there. If I use my finger, it thinks it's just a pen. I should have used 2 fingers together. So one, I need to undo that. Click on me, fella, go over here to the undo button. That's gone away. And from now on, if I'm going to touch with 2 fingers at a time, like I've done here now, okay? Now, the chances are, what do I want to do with this? I want to press done or cancel, okay? So at the moment, I need to retain this original photograph as I have the original items in order to pursue perhaps another investigation. So I'll just press cancel and that'll wipe all the features out on that picture. If I press done, it would have saved the photograph with all of the edits included in. I press cancel. Now, so let me just review what I've been doing here. So I press the home button. Well, what I do is I swipe up from the bottom. And let me just go back, let's swipe up from the bottom, and we're back at our home page. So here's what I started with. This started with me using my iPhone, looking at me using my iPad in order that I could show you how to start a screen recording. Once I started a screen recording, this little red indicator. Oh, now see my cursor's yellow again. How do I turn it back to red? So let me go back into settings, because I wouldn't be using yellow normally. I go back into, forgotten already, have I accessibility, into pointer control, up into pointer control, up into colors, see colors, back to red, back to my pointer again. Okay, so that's what I really wanted to achieve. And I just, down the bottom, go back to my home page. So you can see up here, that red red light at the top, he says that there's a screen recording going on. Everything I'm doing, I'm recording, and I hope I've turned the microphone on, otherwise this has been a waste of time. Although I will have learned something in the process. So there's never a waste of time once you're doing interesting things. And then when I press the screen, when I press that red button, this recording will stop, as will my voice stop, and then you won't be able to hear me anymore, and you may feel bad about that. Next thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to end up with two videos. One, the video I made on my iPhone, which was telling you how to make a video on your iPad. Secondly, the video on the iPad. So I need to take the video on my iPhone and transfer it onto my iPad. So the two videos will be iPad. I'm then going to take those videos into another video editing app called LumaFusion, which I'm going to try and screen record me editing that video for you. And this is just level 1 for beginners. This is great fun. So anyway, I'm going to sign off now. When I press the red button up here on top, this video will stop. So I'll just count. I'll count 3, 2, 1, stop, and then I'll press the button, and that should be the end of the video. So goodbye for this part of this learning exercise. The screen is being recorded. So I'm going to turn off. I've only 5 minutes of this. So this is a long video. So just hang on into the second part. I'm going to stop. So this is my iPhone. I'm going to stop recording on my iPhone. So hi back again, you. I play, I learn, iPad metal learners. Okay. So what I did is I made a video on an iPhone which showed you how to turn on screen recorder on your iPad. I then turned that video recording off on my iPhone because I was then recording a screen recorder video on my iPad, which I then completed. The next part of the exercise, I want to transfer the video that was on my iPhone, that short introductory video, I want to transfer it over to my iPad. I'm going to use that using AirDrop. So I open up the Photos app on my iPhone, I press Share to AirDrop, I select this iPad, and I'm going to press the share button now, and what's happening is AirDrop's asking me, so it's saying, do you accept the file from your iPhone? So I press that, and my iPhone is gradually showing there's 25% of the transfer is taking place. Now remember, video files are very big, it just takes time, so 50% of the way there. And so I wanted both of the videos to be on my iPad in order that I can take them into another video editing app called LumaFusion. So hi there, everyone in the I Play, I Learn iPad Metal group. So now what you're seeing is... This is a video where I want to show you how to do a screen recording on your iPad. This would also apply to an iPhone. Just pause that at the moment and just use the left-facing chevron. Go back up. So you can see the videos that are here. So there's a 5 minutes and 4 second video, which was the introductory video I made on my iPhone, bringing me across to using a screen recorder app on my iPad, which is 32 minutes long. And I've just been recording now, telling you what I just did there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this recording, which will save. So this recording is about how I brought the video across through AirDrop, the initial video, onto my present iPad. So I have these two devices here. I have these two, videos, and the present video, which will stop when I press this. So when I press that up in the top right hand corner, when I click on that, it'll stop. When I do that, the next screen recording that I'm going to try and do, I will start up a screen recorder. I will start the LumaFusion app. I will try and sew these 3 videos together and produce one continuous video. So that's the exercise I'm going to try and do. So again, I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and then I'll press the stop button. So 3, 2, 1, stop.